Hey YouTube, we finally got some cold weather and some snow, so I went out on the property, did some camping, tested out some new gear, had an absolute blast. I had some great food and just enjoyed myself. So here's a drone shot of the property and my campsite. And it was, as you can tell, just an absolutely gorgeous weekend out there. So had a lot of fun, got to test a lot of new gear, and I hope you enjoy the video. So YouTube, it is a Sunday, the 6th of January, and I'm out here on the property. I had to check on the house a bit. We're expecting a snowstorm, so I wanted to do some snow camping. Looking really forward to it. The only thing I like camping wise better than camping in the winter is camping in the snowstorm. So I'll be kind of cold temperatures. It's not about 19 degrees right now. I don't have my thermometer. I haven't set up camp. I had some stuff to do at the house before I came out here and set up camp. We're about 9:30 in the morning. It's 19 degrees roughly, and we're supposed to get 8 to 10 inches, potentially a little bit more. I don't have much hope that I'm going to get 10 inches or more. The last time, last year when I was out here doing the camping, we were supposed to get 8 inches of snow and some ice, and it wound up being more ice and rain than it did snow. I think we got maybe 4 or 5 inches, so we'll see. At least this time we're not expecting at least any other precipitation other than snow, so it's going to stay cold. We're going to stay below freezing for the highs, and the lows are going to dip down into the teens every night, at least according to the weather forecast. So I got some new gear I wanted to test out. Winter camping is always interesting. It's challenging on gear. So obviously water is a challenge. I've got this new water jug from Ironman 4x4. I've tried it a couple of times. It works really well. It's not perfect like everything else, but it's a very heavy plastic. As any of you who watch my videos know, I carry about 8 gallons of water in these Rotopacks on the Jeep. And I do that because, especially in warmer climates, I need more water. A lot of times come out here, there's 2 of us, we take showers with the rinse kit. We've got the dog, she's drinking water, we're drinking water, we've got dishes to do. It's just a lot of excess water being utilized, so extra water is always handy. But in the wintertime, it's hard. Those jugs do a pretty good job. It's probably 5 years now I've been using those, but the having water sitting over here by my camp table is nice. And what worked out nice last time is I took this and I tilted it up like this at night so that it wouldn't freeze water in the nozzle, and that seemed to work pretty well. There was some ice, which I can hear ice in it now just from the drive out, but we'll see how well that does. And then the other thing also from Ironman 4x4 is this tote. So this thing's kind of nice. It's got some wire braces inside of it, so it's silicone, which you're going to see that theme this weekend. But it folds flat down, and then you pop it up and you lock in these steel braces on each end, and it keeps it from squishing back down. It arrived with a broken handle, so we're going to see how well this works. The plastic material for these little latches is very brittle, and if it broke during shipment, and Ironman 4x4 did a good job of supporting me. I called them, let them know that it came in broken. They sent me a brand new one. But I wanted to test this one out in the cold. Brittle plastic does not do well in cold. So I'll show you some other examples of that later. But the interesting thing, it's got little wheels, so it rolls pretty easy. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. But plastic on the underside and these little wheels looks a little bit on the brittle side too. So I don't expect it to do well in the cold, but it's an interesting storage device nonetheless, and I'm looking forward to trying it. A new addition is the cover for my old Blue Eddy EB70. I do have a new battery box. The old Monster X that I loved finally died. Now, I've got to say, it's nothing against the Monster X. So the box was faulty from the get-go. Yet it worked for me for about 3 years And the only problem with it was that I could not charge it via solar. So I've got a solar panel I would set up on the top of the rack to charge it, but it wouldn't take a charge. But when I reached out to the company, they had me do a video showing them the problem, and they said, yeah, okay, we'll refund your money. I said, okay, where do I send the box back to? And they said, no, we don't do that. Just keep it. So even though it was defective, it worked for a number of years, but it finally gave up the ghost. So I'm back to using my Blue Eddy EB70. I did buy a brand new power box. I'll talk about that in another video. But one of the things that I wanted to do was get a waterproof bag. So this bag is it's pretty nice. And one of the problems that I'm having with this lately, this plug continues to come undone. I've tried O-rings on it. I've tried bending the prongs out, and it keeps doing that. But this is a bag. It should help keep it a little bit warmer because batteries don't tend to like the cold. The bag will keep moisture off of it, and it should do pretty well. Now, this bag isn't big enough for my new Blue Eddy that I purchased. I purchased the 2000 or the 200. And it's a brand new power box that they just released. I've got that sitting at home. I did not want to bring it out here and expose it. It's very expensive. I've had this one forever, and this one works really well, especially in the cold. You don't really need to run the fridge that much. So this little EB70 will get me through the entire weekend easily. In fact, it'll probably be pretty much half or better charged when I leave. So this is a new, I purchased this on Amazon. I'll leave some links if I remember. But I'm looking forward to using that. So one of the things with the power boxes is, and I've talked about this with the fridge before, with the power connected to my Jeep, when I'm driving, that runs this fridge. When I stop, if they're dual connected, it'll automatically come off this box if that silly connector doesn't come loose. I've tried a bungee cord on. I've tried a number of different things. I don't know what the issue is, but I'll look into that and see if I can fix it. But the thing with the portable stuff is, and lately I've been doing that, so I've been using the Jeep for a lot of work. You can see a lot of junk in the back. So I've been hauling logs and hauling firewood and all kinds of stuff. So when I come into camp, I actually take the fridge out, which normally I don't do, but lately that's been the norm. So I'll take the fridge and the battery box and I'll put them over here by the fire, set them here, and that way I can just get up from my chair, come over here, get whatever I need to out of the fridge, and the back of the truck is open. I can go cut firewood, load it up, do whatever I need to, and then come back. So that's one of the nice things about having an external battery box. And there really aren't that many negatives to it. It's nice. I don't really use the battery box for anything else. It's got the charger on the top of it, which you can use for your cell phone. You can charge other devices. I've got a small little battery box that I use to charge my phone, and I just don't see the need to do anything else with it. I could if I wanted to, but it's still a handy little device. So, all right, I'm going to get camp set up. I am going to do the trick with the footprint on the top of the tent because it's going to get so cold, and we're going to have snow. I don't think we're going to have any appreciable wind, but being cold, it could be a very fine snow. And sometimes if you get a little wind with fine snow, you'll have snow blow in through the upper vents. One of the downsides to covering up the vents with the footprint, and I've discussed this before in other winter camping videos, but you hold all the condensation and moisture from your breath in a tent. Basically, you create a snowstorm inside your tent. So you'll get these little ice crystals that'll form up. And when you get up in the morning, a lot of times your entire sleeping bag is covered in this stuff. It's a little bit damp. Now, I brought my -20 Wiggies, which is synthetic, so it's not really going to be affected. It never has been anyways by that. If I was running some of my down quilts, that I would be concerned with it. But honestly, the down quilts in this kind of temperatures, they don't work really well. You got too many gaps for air around the sides of it and everything else. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and get the tent set up. All right, so I popped up the tent. You leave the top down. If any of you are interested in doing this with your Gazelle T4, leave the top pulled down before you put your rain fly on, and you just run your footprint with the corners on each side. so kind of kitty corner to the tent itself. And then once I get the rainfly on, I'll go ahead and secure those, pop a top up, and then we'll be good. Like I said, it'll cover up all the vents. You can see all the vents. Now they're all covered. This isn't heavy, but it will help keep the snow out. So, and you know, if we get any breezes, it's going to be cold, so it'll eliminate the breezes that come in under the tent fly or the rain fly. Tent set up, and we've got all the corners of the footprint secured. And now, as you can see, it really does a good job of blocking almost all of these vents. There's still some room for air to come in, but not much. So it'll do for the night. Like I said, there's a few downsides, but sometimes there are some positives to it. Hey, the King Camp cot is doing really well. It sleeps really well. Not a big surprise. The only thing that I found with it, it's very lightweight. I didn't really think about it. It's not a big deal, but it's not as stable. So last time I was out, and I've had, I think this is the 4th trip that I've been able to use it, so I've got a good amount of data on it. But I sat down on this end, which I used to do with the old one all the time, but because this is very lightweight, it tips up. And so when I sat on this end, it kind of like collapsed me into the wall of the tent. But it's a really solid cot. I really like it. It sits really well, sleeps really well, and I've had very little problems with it. It's so much easier to pack up and to haul around because of this lightweight and the way it just folds up really quick, that I really do enjoy it. Because typically when I'm done with my camping, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time packing up, and the old cot was a little bit of a chore to get it all packed up. So there you go, just a little update on the cot. So as I mentioned, this is my tote from Ironman 4x4. You can see this is the one with the broken latch. As I said, I think this looks pretty brittle, and I don't think that it's going to survive very well in the cold, because brittle plastic does not. But it's a really cool tote. So as you can see, it's popped up right now, and it's got these steel braces. So all you do, pop that steel brace, pop this one, and then the whole thing will just collapse. Hold on just a sec. So it collapses into a nice little package. So the lid is a little bit tougher than the latch, so I think the lid will be fine. Then it locks down, and then the little latches just come up and hold it on. So overall, I like this unit. I think it'll be pretty usable. I have not figured out exactly how I'm going to use it yet. What I've been doing is I took some of the stuff that I had in my kitchen stuff from my flat pack boxes, and I put it in this. It holds a lot more, obviously, but then that's a challenge too, because it seems like whatever it is you need is always on the bottom and you have to dig through it. So, but ultimately I will find a good purpose for this, and I think it'll come in handy. All right, so I mentioned silicone is the game today. So I've been using a lot of silicone stuff. So I've got some silicone pop-up bowls. I use these all the time. You've probably seen, if you've seen any of my videos, me pulling hot pans out from the fire with these. And then I purchased this, which is a silicone bowl. So it has these latches, and I've had the latches pop off and pop right back on, but so the latch pops off, you just pop it right back on, but it doesn't seal airtight. So you just pop it out. Nice bowl, it's a good size. When you put the lid on it, if you push down on it, it will collapse. You'll hear the air hiss out. If you put liquid in it and it tips sideways, the liquid will come out. So I was looking for something a little bit more usable from that perspective. So I found these, and these are great. Now, I mentioned that plastic doesn't like the cold, so we'll see how these work. So it's fairly thick, But after a while, these are going to become brittle and probably break off. But let's see here. Comes off nice and easy. Pop the lid. Once again, really good sized. But when you put these lids on, and I've used these a couple of times for gumbo. Once you get the lid back on it, it doesn't collapse. It seals airtight. So I had liquid in there, put it in my refrigerator, and nothing leaked out. As a matter of fact, when I got home during the drive home, one of them had jiggled and it tipped over, and it held all the liquid in there just fine. So no issues. So one of the other things that I picked up was silicone measuring cups. A lot of your camping gear has marks on it that shows you the cups or ounces or whatever, and it's not always the same thing. And a lot of times I'm making something and I need a cup of something, or I need whatever I need. So these work really well. They're just standard, cheap. They pop out, do them. They're easy to clean. Pop them down. They don't take up any room. So those are pretty cool. Another thing that I got, these aren't silicone, but they seem to be pretty sturdy measuring cups. Same basic kind of concept. They fold down fairly flat, and they store really simple. So that's fantastic. Now, one of the things I mentioned was I had this egg container, and I brought it out last time when it got cold. You see here, it shattered. And that is a common thing that you'll find when you're dealing with cold weather. So one of the latches broke off here, and then that broke, and then this one broke. And so I've scrapped this. To be honest with you, this was not a great egg container anyways. I thought it looked cool, like it would work. It's got these prongs, so you can put small eggs or extra large eggs, and these prongs go around the egg, and then it holds it up. There's prongs on the other side. And I thought that's cool, because if you haul small eggs, then if your container's sized for extra large, then they rattle around, and that's going to wind up with broken eggs. I've had that happen a lot of times. So I have a new egg container, and this is an interesting one. So it does have a plastic tab. It looks a little heavier duty. I assume after a lot of use that this will probably wear and come off, but they're not that expensive. And it's got this to adjust for the eggs, and it seems to work out really well. And then my girlfriend mentioned that I could take a piece of foam and glue it on here, so I actually hot glued this to the top. It's just the thin little foam that you get in the Amazon package. Put that on the top, and that seems to be working really well for me right now. So that is a great egg container. I'll leave a link below if anybody's interested, but I'll let you know how that holds up in the cold. So I got the silicone mat. I told you, you're going to hear silicone a lot today. So this is fantastic. It dawned on me because of all the silicone stuff I got for Christmas. My girlfriend bought me a silicone mat that goes next to the grill, and you can put hot stuff on. I don't have to worry about it. And I thought, I use silicone all the time. Why don't I have something like that for my camp table? So I found this. It's 3 foot by 2 foot. It fits really well on this camp table, and there's probably 1,000 uses for this, because I'm constantly having hot dishes and everything else. I don't want to set them on the camp table. I wind up swiveling my grill grate out of the way, doing that, and that works pretty good. But sometimes you want to be able to put some hot stuff down here, especially if I'm cooking with my stove on this table. So it comes in handy. But another thing, I mentioned this water jug. So this is a 5-gallon from Ironman 4x4, and it is pretty cool because it's got that little nozzle. And what you do, you set it on your table, and you turn the nozzle, it unlocks it, and then you press it. Water comes out. Pretty simple. Well, they didn't put any big hooks back behind it, so a lot of times when you're trying to press it, you wind up doing this, and it slides on the camp table. Now, let me undo it, I don't want to waste my water. when you push on it, it doesn't slide across the mat. It sticks to that silicone. So the fact that I've got more purchase on this, or more traction on this, is really going to help. I really liked using it before, but it took a little bit more to make sure you got your fingers back behind that and held it while you pushed and you're trying to fill something, so both hands are busy. This will help a lot and kind of make it a little bit more usable. All right, so I processed a little kindling, got some other wood ready. I've got some split stuff, and I've got some more I'm going to split. I dragged in a lot of kindling. I'll be out here for 2 days, and hopefully some heavy snow. So I'll be needing a fire, and I plan to do all my cooking over the fire. So the process of getting a fire, obviously you need tinder. Now, I always have tons of tinder on me. I carry a ton of dry tinder in my bag. I've got my get home bag's got a bunch in there. But I always collect, you know, as I'm walking around and I see tinder, I don't like to use up my stuff. The newspaper came from the mailbox as I come over to the property. I just figured I'd put that down. One of the problems with the fire pit is that it's got the grate in the bottom, so it doesn't hold your small fire starter up above the grate. It wants to fall through, and you can have some problems getting your fire lit. But so I just put the paper in there. But the process typically is, I always use a fire steel to get it started. Fire steel directly on the paper will work. You can also do feather sticks and get it to light a lot of times. You got to try a little bit harder with this, obviously. And then you want varied sized woods. So if you don't have good kindling, so this is really good kindling, you want like lead pencil sized kindling. And then you want a little bit bigger stuff, and then a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger. You can cut up wood, so fire likes sharp edges. So if you cut up a log and you have those sharp edges in a small format, that will light very quickly as well. And I created this just with my knife, so you can get the smaller pieces. So once you get your flame, then you just feed it the small pieces, get it going. Once it gets hot, then you can start putting bigger stuff on it, and it becomes self-sustaining. All right, so I got firewood, unprocessed. I got plenty of kindling. Got my fire going, had my lunch. Put the tonneau cover on the bed. I almost never use this thing. About the only time I really need it is for snow. So I'll take everything tonight. We're supposed to get, I think, up to 5 inches this evening. So I'll take some of my dry kindling. I'll cover it up with a tarp. I'll put all my gear into the back of the Jeep so that everything will be free of snow in the morning. But yeah, everything's squared away. It's going to be a good snowstorm. I get to try out this new gear. So the Christmas gifts got from the kids at this saw. I got this apparatus with the hook for my coffee maker. I got this little grill plate that moves over. It can adjust up and down, so that's pretty cool. I actually made lunch on it. My girlfriend got me a griddle, which I used as well. So I actually made some hot ham and cheese using Christmas leftovers. So, well, actually New Year's leftovers. So yeah, it's so far it's been a good time. But we're fixing to get the snow, so dig in there. So this year I started trying these Carhartt pants. So these are super tough work pant. They're double fabric on the knees. And one of the cool things about that is the knee pads. So you curl these up and you put them up inside. That flares out around those little notches, and it'll keep the knee pad in place. And what's great about this is I don't run into a lot of situations where I thump my knees or anything like that, but a lot of times, especially I'm out here winter camping, you want to you've got to kneel down and the ground's wet from snow or whatever, and you soak your pant knees. And these, even though the outside will get wet, this will prevent the moisture from coming in, plus it takes some of the impact away from your knee. So these are really cool. I got 3 pairs of the pants. I got 1 pair. These are the extra large knee pads. They come in different sizes. And so I'm going to get those things squared away and get them on. So you roll them up as tight as you can, and then you just push them up inside. And once you get them in there, you got to turn it to make sure that the correct side is down. So you want that knobby side to be on the outside. But that's what it looks like with the knee pad in there. So it you can feel a little bit of the weight when you're wearing them, but I've worn them a couple of times and they're very comfortable. They don't bother you at all. So it's great for the knees. All right, so I got some hot water on so I can do up the dishes after dinner. I've got some gumbo in the Dutch oven. The new swing arm contraption is working great. I can raise and lower that. So I had it down close to the flames, brought it to a boil, and then raised it up and let it simmer with the lid on. So it's working great. This grate is still working really well. I just roll it out there, heat up the water, everything's good. So got to batten down the hatches tonight. It's snow's supposed to start about 10, and I want to make sure that everything's stored away in the Jeep. And of course, one of the important things, because temperatures are going to get low, is to make sure that the coffee pot is filled with water, so that when I get up, I get a fire going and I can melt that ice. Because I have a feeling that, and I may be pleasantly surprised, but that water jug nozzle will be frozen up, or the water in the jug will be frozen up, and it won't dispense water. So I've got water in the fridge, which normally the water in the fridge doesn't freeze when it gets super cold. So that's cool, but it always helps to have water in the coffee pot. Oh yeah, that looks really good. So I got my fire going. We got, I don't know, maybe 4 inches of snow. They're expecting quite a bit more today and into tomorrow, which should be fun, as I've got to pack up Tuesday at some point and haul out of here, so it should be fun. But I set the water jug last night on its side so that the nozzle wasn't didn't have water in it. So let's see how well this thing did. It got down to 20 degrees. Not quite as cold as I thought it was going to, but all right. So the little nozzle is frozen, so it won't turn. That's the safety device. So I'll turn that toward the fire and we'll see. So I sat next to the fire for a few minutes and it's working just fine. So that's good. I figured it would. It's pretty heavy duty. Oh, one thing about this jug is it doesn't have a vent valve, which kind of makes sense for portable water like this. So you have to loosen the cap if you want decent water flow. All right, so trying to get my water heated. I'm going to use the AirPress for coffee this morning. It's a little quicker than my espresso, and good hot cup of coffee sounds really good. Then I'm going to make up some breakfast. So YouTube, so we didn't get as much snow as I wanted. We're probably at 6, maybe 7 inches. I doubt we hit 7. As you can see, it's still snowing. We're supposed to be getting a light to moderate snow until 5, so we got about an hour and a half left to go. And it's in this stage right now where it just gets like this. The minute I brush off my chair and my table, it does it again. So I just leave it the mat. I just grab one end of the mat, throw the snow back. That works really well. So that has been a fantastic addition to camping regardless of the season. So in the summertime, fall, spring, it helps, you know, reduce the dirt you're tracking into the tent. And here it helps deal with the snow. So that's fantastic. All my gear, the cot worked great. I had a great night's sleep. My wiggies kept me in some ways overly warm. It is a negative 20 bag. We got down to about 19 degrees. We're supposed to get down to about 18, maybe 17 tonight. So not super cold, not super snowy, but in the cold and snow, things are different, and it tests your gear. So all my gear worked fantastic. So my cook system, the old grate, well, not old, I've only had it for about a month and a half, but the pivoting grate here still works great. And then this with the swing arms is fantastic and I can use the combination of them, swing them out of the way as you see right now, and I can cook. I cooked on the round tray this morning. I used the arm, the upper arm, to do my water. I used it also to do my Dutch oven, and I made a gumbo last night. I can adjust it. So you bring the gumbo, you bring it to a boil, and then you cover it and simmer it for 25 to 30 minutes. And I was able to adjust the arm to get that proper temperature. So my Ironman 4x4 water jug, it worked really well. As I thought, it does freeze up after a while, big shock, right? But it survived it. It didn't crack. On the silicone mat, which worked really well, it doesn't slide. I just put it close to the fire, and within a few minutes the nozzle had thawed out, and as a matter of fact, it's been out all day, and you can see it still has water coming out of it, so it's great. The pots, or the silicone bowls that I told you about, those were my leftover gumbo in there last night. It was in the refrigerator. It was tipped sideways. It stayed sealed. It didn't leak. A fantastic addition to any camp kitchen, because when you're not using it, it folds down small. You could also take it, because it's silicone, and you could put it in like a Dutch oven with boiling water, and you can float that, and I could actually heat those leftovers up. Egg container worked great, didn't break. I didn't expect it to. It's a little heavier duty than my old one, so that worked out great. I was really kind of surprised by this thing. So as I told you, it came broken from the seller. They sent me a new one. Really good customer services. Once again, this is Ironman 4x4. It's soft here. It takes the abuse, but this thing's been out in the cold all day, all day yesterday and all day today. I've been in and out of it, and I thought maybe these latches, because that was already broke, would be brittle and would snap on me in the cold, as things sometimes do, and no issues. It is held up so far, so I'm pretty pleased with it. I had the wheels down in the snow. It was sitting on the ground over there. The wheels still work fine. It's great. I've got a pair of these heat-proof gloves at home for smoking and grilling. I really love them. My girlfriend bought me this set for camping, and oh my God, these things are so nice. So I can take my coffee pot off the fire, the Dutch oven off the fire when it's hot. I can control it. I have no issues. And I thought of it this morning when I was doing my breakfast dishes. I fill up my collapsible sink full of hot water coming out of the coffee pot and soap, and get it all stirred up and foamy. And then I do my dishes. Well, that's pretty hot to be sticking your hands in. I took these gloves, put them on, and I was able to wash all the dishes without having to add cold water to get to a bearable temperature. And it just worked fantastic. So I highly recommend a pair of these. They're multi-use. This is the little griddle that my girlfriend bought me. I'm going to use it again tonight. But yesterday I did a grilled ham and cheese sandwich, and it worked great. I just put it on the small swing grate, threw some butter on it, and it did a good job of cooking. Cast iron, not a big shock. You get that even heat distribution. The battery boxes sat out in its little case all night long. I zip it up close to the cable, and the cable goes down. I had zero issues with it. I've opened it up a couple of times, didn't even see any snowflakes in it. Refrigerator, as always, thing's fantastic. I love the silly fridge. One of the great things out here, and I don't know to what temperature it will do this, but I've been in 15-degree weather using that thing, and my water is in there, and it didn't freeze. So water's been in there all day long. No problems whatsoever. So if you're winter camping, another reason to have a fridge. So been doing a lot of cutting wood. I showed the wood pile before, and I've got the tarp over most of it. I'll be spending the night out again, and I'll get up in the morning and I'll probably do another fire, get some coffee in me, and then take my time packing up. I'll have to brush all the snow off this stuff. Snow does definitely create some complications when it comes to camping. It's not all that easy, but in my case, it's worth it. I love it, and it's fun. You learn a lot. So there you go. It's been a successful snow camp, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So the sensor push shows that it got down to just under 20 degrees. It did get a little bit colder, but it shows that the tent temperature was about 1 degree to 1.5 degrees consistently warmer with the cover on it. As always, had some great food. Here's a hot ham and cheese sandwich on my new griddle. I also did the gumbo in the Dutch oven, which was excellent. And I had a hash and egg breakfast over the fire, which is super awesome. And as always, cheers. Thanks for watching. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, comment below as to why. Appreciate you watching.